Welcome to the NWI.com Political Roundtable for Thursday, April 24th. I'm Robert Blaszkiewicz, Assistant Managing Editor of The Times. Joined with me today, Doug Ross, Editorial Page Editor of The Times. And Doug, let's jump right in talking about a kind of interesting local issue in Hobart. Geo Group, which is I believe, a Florida firm which is involved in kind of private correctional facilities or detention centers, right. Had purchased some land in Hobart, the old St. Sava site, and was looking possibly to develop a immigration detention center, I believe it was.
Well, nobody really can say that exactly. I mean, that's the general consensus in the community that it would be, but really, GEO can't propose anything until it gets for the federal government, until the federal government puts forth a request for proposals and all that. So GEO's positioning itself for something like that, but really until it happens, you won't know. Crete came out strongly against a similar thing just across the state line. So, you know, there's the logical assumption that's what we would have.
So there's the NIMBY effect, the not in my backyard.
Right.
I wonder whether there's also some politics at play here. The Hobart mayor, Brian Snedeker, a Democrat, came out strongly against this proposal. And I was looking into the background of Geo Group a little bit, and they have donated quite a bit of money to Indiana politicians, all Republican, basically. So Mike Pence, along with some of the state house Republicans as well. So I don't know if that's come into play, but it's kind of an interesting. It brings about this kind of interesting dynamic here with these private correctional facility groups that are vying for these lucrative government contracts.
Well, right, and so, you know, of course, people are wondering, you know, A, I don't want, you know, criminals in my backyard. B, you know, you have a huge prison industry already in LaPorte County with the Westville Correctional Center and the Indiana State Prison there. So, you know, various, you know, halfway houses, prison farms, things like that, so that are related to the Department of Correction. So you have an existing industry, and so the fear is, you know, always, you know, what if one of them escapes? And then the other fear is, what if, you know, a private entity doesn't put, you know, the emphasis on security over profits? And so, you know, that's what they're concerned about. Two things, I think, in that issue.
Right, and now we have Isaac Walton League coming in and saying, hey, we'd like to take over the land and preserve it.
Well, that's an interesting dynamic, because then, you know, Geo can build this basically anywhere. It just would have to buy land elsewhere, and then that, you know, puts more land into kind of a conservation thing. So, you know, environmentally it's good, economic developmentally, there's no taxes on that land if it's, you know, if it's in a conservation trust or something. So, you know, Hobart's losing money, both potential income, but also taxes.
Doug, today you were at the Times Board of Economists luncheon, and you're talking to Congressman Pete Blaszkiewicz about the situation in Ukraine. What did he have to say about that?
Well, I said, you know, so, you know, basically, what do you think is going to happen? And you know, his exact words are, I don't know. And here's the problem. You know, Pete laid this out very well. But it's basically what I was thinking too, is that you know, you're dealing with a bully with Vladimir Putin, and Russia, you know, through him, and that's a bully with a whole lot of weapons. I mean, it's hard to argue very forcefully with somebody with a huge nuclear arsenal when it's not something that directly affects you, especially. So, you know, the question is, you know, the U.S. is war weary after Afghanistan and Iraq. You know, we've just, you know, been beaten down, and so, you know, do we really want to pick another fight?
And as much as we like to think of ourselves, our country as the center of the universe, we're not. Europe is obviously very involved in this situation, and much more tied economically to Russia. So, you know, anything that the the White House does or that the United States does in relation to Russia and Ukraine really needs to be in concert with the Europeans.
Right, and you know, here's a perfect situation of what the United Nations was set up for, and here's a perfect example of why it won't work, because you know, the United Nations went in Korea, for example, but you know, here you have Russia involved. Russia's got a permanent seat on the UN Security Council, so you know, it can veto anything that you attempt to do.
Right, right.
So it's a tough one.
Sure. Doug, this weekend, on Sunday to be specific, we have our annual election guide coming out. And we also have...
in print and online.
In print and online. We have a lot of new, I think, interesting features that I think our readers, if they're not already aware of it, will be interested in.
Right. So we're looking at, you know, you usually have, here's what the candidates have to say and some of the, you know, these things. So we'll have all of that. I think that the real asset that we have right now, and we have the polling places and all that. But the real asset, I think, is the videos with the candidates that we've interviewed for endorsement purposes to kind of decide who we're endorsing in those races. Those, I'm hearing those videos are getting really popular. Some of the more contentious ones, you know, Jamal Washington and Ron Matlock, for example, in the Lake County Council race. That one's getting you know, a lot of views and a lot of comments. And the Calumet Township trustee race with Kim Robinson versus the incumbent Mary Elgin, that one's getting a lot of comments and a lot of views. So these are good ways that you're going to see not just, you know, what they say, but how they say it and how they interact with each other. So that'll tell you a lot more about the candidates than just reading the words.
And as the endorsements come out, you can look at those endorsements online, and you'll see we have the videos attached to those endorsements, so you can view for yourself. You don't have to take our word for it. You can take a look at yourself and make your own decision. That's really what we'd like you to do as a voter.
Right, and so we're putting all of this online at nwi.com/politics. It's kind of like, you know, our if you consider politics a competitive sport, which it is, you know, there's your prep sports page for Northwest Indiana politics.
Well, we hope you'll go there. We hope you'll take a look at the videos and all the content that we have there. And we thank you for watching this week, and we'll be back next week with another Political Roundtable.
Thank you.